your amazing art build for BURN2 Waking Dreams. And we are now in the front of your beautiful build, and we're going to be talking about it as well as doing a tour. And then we'll start with talking about you. Let me show our viewers where we're at. Okay, we're we are showing ourselves on the screen, so everything's good. And Huntress, you look fabulous. You look just like you do with your beautiful hair and outfits. Thank you for all that you do, including your beautiful embellishments. Let's start with talking about how did you get started with BURN2?
I had a friend who had come to it before, and she thought, this is a place I might like. So she dragged me along, and I had a look at all the art and the people, and learned about the ideals of Burning Man, and thought, yep, this is pretty good.
Yeah, what did you like about our community? What did you?
I liked the idea that it was, you're not just all out for yourselves, and look after the environment, look after each other. Yeah, ideal world kind of thing.
Yeah, and you've been doing Second Life for quite a long time, and you are also involved in other communities and in Second Life. So if anyone wanted to find you and read your profile to find out what kinds of things you have going on, which we can do in your profile, you see in the subject line Huntress's name, so you can go check out the profile, her profile, and take a look at other things that she's involved in currently. So yeah, so this is your art build at BURN2, and this is the size of it. I'm panning out to show just how large this is. And are you the sole builder of the installation?
Yes, all my own. All my own work, all my own mess.
You've got some pictures on the outside, some beautiful texturing, playa texture to kind of hide the box. But and what was
make the box look a little less ugly?
Yeah, we've got a lot of boxes this year. I can see that ending up as an agenda item in the near future. But tell me your inspiration for your art installation.
It's been a project I've worked on for a lot of years now, and it's expanding and expanding. The ones shown here are probably not even half of what I have done now. And it's just putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, basically. Try and make people aware of what other people go through, which they sometimes need, I think. We forget what others are like around us, or sometimes what we're going through is hidden.
Right, the reasons for what we do and why we make the choices we make. That's part of, for me, putting myself in other people's shoes, is trying to discover the reasons, and even looking at the good reasons. What might be, there's some kind of benefit going on somewhere in our choices. So to me, that's what it means to me, but it's even more than that, isn't it? So.
Yeah, because it's things like things that we can't help, that depression and bipolar and physical disabilities, and some of those we don't even see. They're hidden from us, and some people, we just don't talk about them enough.
And I would say, definitely in Second Life, because we have a veil between ourselves and our avatar, don't we? And so, and that's sort of like a curtain that we either can or cannot pull aside if we choose to reveal our other world selves. But it's still the same in physical world. You can't always know and see what's going on. Even the person may not even be aware of what's going on. A lot of times that's part of the condition even. But let's take a walk. Why don't you lead the way and I will follow.
Okay, we'll head into this scene is a graveyard. This one's to do with grief. So we go in, and I use a lot of words with this to really push the feeling. And so I do have the words around, and I also have little speaker ones to listen to it if possible. But unfortunately, I haven't nailed getting the volume when you actually record it well yet.
Mm.
Who knows? You could help me with that.
Maybe I could. Yes.
um, um, but when I normally do a work with these start out as I will use the dummies in real life to place in ways that I think are symbolic and work for what I'm trying to explain.
Mm.
Then I photograph them and I keep them, they're super simple so that you're not distracted by anything else in that picture.
Mm.
It's just, the dummy and the black background. And then I add words in specific spots to supplement it a bit so that you get the deeper feeling of it.
Yes, and for those who are wondering how you build, you are primarily a builder in world, and a master builder in world, and knows how to manipulate the basic prim shapes that are given to us to set up. And now we also have other features like turning them into mesh and reducing the land impact or the server impact, making them cleaner.
Yeah,
And
I don't tend to do that as much.
mm,
I don't tend to work with mesh as much because then you start to introduce lag and that sort of thing. So I generally keep everything the same with my pictures, very basic, very
yeah,
simple prims.
and it's very
And
powerful. Even so, you know, I think that's what makes it so good. Is simpler is better in this case, isn't it?
yeah, what I might do is I will actually read this gravestone here out to you, um, so that it's easier to understand what we're heading into.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the partner who has been left behind, or just relative, someone who cares that has been left behind. I can't believe you are not here anymore. When the shadows move, I'm sure it's you. When the house creaks, I think it is your footfall. When there is a breeze, I swear I smell the scent of you. You are not gone, merely absent. I await your return.
When you say it, very powerful, and you can tell
And
it's real for you.
yeah, all of them have uh, an understanding at some point. That
Mm.
particular part is just the first part, and with this one, this actually goes through the various stages of grief. So that's the first part when we've just had them gone. We're just missing them, and
Mm.
it's hard to understand that they've gone. But further on, it goes through the what they call bargaining, which is when I would give anything, just bring them back to me, let them, somehow they suddenly come back again. And
And
then
then
you
it's
go
not
through right to
fair.
no, it's not fair. And then you go to anger, and it's like, and it's often anger at that person that died, even though it's not really anger, but that's how it comes out. That's
Mm-hmm.
how could you do this? Well, why didn't you just not drink and drive, or why didn't you watch where you stepped, or why
Mm-hmm.
didn't you take care of your health?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we go back to how you normally, just lost and working through it again.
Right. You can hop around from each of these stages depending on
Yeah,
what's going on for you, right?
yeah.
Mm.
So, yeah, now if we head in here into the actual church area, and the first thing you see is the couple that when you touch it, it pulls apart, which is the symbolic of you've lost that person, you're not together with that person anymore.
Oh, I see that they end up on the other windows, right?
Yeah, so they're pulled apart.
And here's the goodbye.
And then you
Oh.
have the, yeah,
Mm.
in the actual artwork photo I've done of this one, it actually has the person kneeling beside.
Let me
But
get
with
my
this,
boxes back open on my viewer so I can click on the magnifying glass. And then it changes my view. And also, I want to see what my little bings are for. Okay, let me turn off. Well, it's too late to turn those off. So let me turn off the boxes and show my view, which I'm doing right now. There's a medal. This loved one has a medal.
that's an addition for current times. That normally wouldn't be there. But yes, our world is in a lot of turmoil at the moment.
And then I'm animated in looking in the magnifying glass. But my view is right there, right on top of the goodbye coffin. Yeah. And so this also has your poetry.
Yeah, there's bits of it. Like I said, there's various sections with this one, the various stages, and so those are around the place.
Mm-hmm.
And just to add it.
Mm-hmm. There's a poster on the wall which I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's more the how the actual work looks.
Yeah.
So it's got those little paragraphs, which are the different stages.
Now this is a physical world photograph, and so have you created an installation of this art in your other life?
Yeah, I start out. I put them together and I move them around and get them into the position I want. And then I do the normal photography stuff, setting up the lighting, that kind of thing. And like I said, I keep them very, very simple so that there's nothing else to distract you away from that message that I'm trying to convey.
Right. Okay, we're back to my viewing. I just got up out of the magnifying glass. I think you've done poetry readings over the years in your hometown. Am I correct?
Um, Probably one of the best things I've done, I really enjoyed, was being a living book.
Oh, tell me about
That
that.
was that was just that's a great yard. We had to um, make a we had to let them know what sort of things we were willing to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
because we've all got different aspects of our lives, and some of them we don't necessarily want to be that obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So we work that out, and then we do up a little, um, like in your book, you have the little preamble bit
Mm-hmm.
in the front.
Mm-hmm.
So we do that, and you give yourself a title to your book, and then we go sit in a room while we wait for somebody to borrow us.
Oh my goodness, it sounds so artsy
Well, it's
fartsy.
just
Let me hear more. This sounds pretty interesting.
it's quite fun. So somebody borrows you, and you go out to one of the tables in the library, and and basically they get to ask questions about those subjects that you said you're willing to talk about. And the conversation can go anywhere depending on what they want to know, or um, just what they're interested in. And I just found it an interesting way for people to, for one thing, get to know some of the stuff that they didn't know otherwise, because it's very different hearing and talking with somebody else compared to actually reading a physical book.
Mm.
So yeah, I kind of put down a few things that I had of interest, like being bisexual, polyamorous, BDSM, all sorts of things that people didn't normally get to ask.
Ah,
And
an
yeah, you
open
never know
book.
where it's going to go.
Yeah, right now I'm looking in the magnifying glass at the little cubby holes that you're forced to
Yeah,
fit into. Trying to fit into that one in the middle there looks a little hard.
little squishy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's all we label everything. And the labels these days are getting a bit ridiculous. It's like you go to the nth degree of being labelled. You know, you've got suddenly 12 labels that you're supposed to fit into all of.
Mm.
And I mean, yes, we need to have them to a degree, but it's just become very hard now.
And if you're wondering why I keep toggling back to a hidden, showing a slide and not my viewers, because in order for me to sit on the magnifying glasses, I have to open up my viewers controls, and some of that is chat, and those dings that you're hearing are chat. And let me see if anyone is trying to get a hold of me for any strange reason that I need to be aware of. But nope, I'm going to show right now the other magnifying glass position, and this is the view that I get when I am in the magnifying glass. So I'm looking above, down at the puppet.
Yep. Now the puppet is symbolising things like cerebral palsy, Parkinson's, the things where you can't control your movement the way that the average person can. So you just feel like you're a puppet on a string because you've lost that control. Something else controls it now.
Yes. A lot of people are probably relating to that. There's so many things that can fit into that category, especially if you're young and less empowered than adulthood, for example, too.
Yeah, generally I don't make these like one absolutely specific thing. I make it something that can affect quite a few people.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, there are occasionally some things that are definitely very specific.
Okay, following you. Yeah, there's a lot. A lot.
Okay, now this one, I've got a sound thing I do have in this one that I need to press.
I do like the angle of this little tunnel here. It's almost a swirl, isn't it? It's a swirly. Mm-hmm. And this becomes a little more colorful, doesn't it? On purpose?
Not too quiet now on your system. But the music is it's a piece of music that most people hate because it is very chaotic. It's up and down and nice melody one minute and boom crash the other minute.
Mm-hmm.
And it's to go with the whole chaos that is here. There's good looking stuff, there's bad looking stuff, it's scary, it's happy, it's very hard to tell. And this one is mostly to do with schizophrenia, just the chaos they have in their mind,
and there's such a range things for schizophrenic disorder, from like how much of effect it has on your ability to engage.
Yeah.
It's a very big range.
A lot of people are like, well, they can take tablets and that will cure them kind of thing. Well, I mean, it doesn't cure them, but it keeps it under control. But the trouble is with a lot of people with conditions like that or depression, it's a case of after a while they feel good. And so they stop the medication because they feel good and they don't feel like they need it, and it's horrible taking tablets all the time. And of course they end up back at square one again.
Yeah, I have some friends who have relatives who have to work with the relatives for that very reason. In and out of group homes and apartments with supports and so on. So yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, the end of this one is, I'll read that as well. They were watching me when I went out today, I felt their eyes boring into me. I know it was them, come to get me. They want to change me, turn me into one of them. I fool them. I do what they say, and they think they have me. Demons and angels.
Mm.
That's to do with, they just, a lot of them have paranoia issues, which is a pity, and they imagine things that aren't there. They get conspiracy theories.
I see the
And
house on upended. Yeah.
yeah, it's to symbolize the sort of, they have trouble with just living life normally and having a normal home. Quite often, you'll get some of them that'll end up homeless because they just can't function like we would. They can't keep it, pay the rent or pay the bills in general that we would normally be able to do because they can't keep a job necessarily.
Mm.
And so life is constantly a topsy-turvy thing.
Mm. That's one side of the spectrum. I guess that's on the one end. It's the difficult side. But there's on the other end of the spectrum, the lighter side of schizophrenia, it almost looks bipolar um, uh, in behavior and so on. So quite a few schizophrenic people do
Can be a
have
bit.
functioning abilities and do work and are employed and have families and and medication and therapy and other
Yeah,
things.
some do very well, and quite often it depends on.
It all depends. Yeah. Okay, when I went up the stairs, was that the right thing to do? Okay. And so now we're at the top of your build and
This one, I have my sister in mind with this one, because she, like a lot of women, have gone through the loss of a baby, and they call them rainbow babies.
mm,
And this one is, you have a lot of different forms it takes. Some babies will pass away after they're born because they've had some sort of, like they might have a heart problem or whatever, and they'll die soon later. But there is also like the stillborn ones that, or just a miscarriage before that point even. And for those that have miscarriages or stillborn babies, the world doesn't tend to understand what a loss that is for them,
mm-hmm.
because it wasn't, it never came into being.
And for
So
the
there was,
siblings too.
yeah. So it's um, just one I sort of
The whole family.
I had.
Mm.
Yeah, there's a lot. People don't realise that with miscarriages, 1 in 4 pregnancies miscarriage.
I did not know it was
It's,
that
it's
high.
actually it's actually a very high number, but we don't talk about it.
Mm.
So yeah,
Mm.
um, I can read this one to you if you want, or we can continue on.
It's up to you. Yeah, we can stop and read it. Yes.
I must say, with this one, I wrote it, and even though I know what it's about and I've done the work on it, it will usually make me start to cry
Oh.
because it is just one of those things. It is a very emotional one,
Mm. They all are
but
so
yeah,
far. Very
but
touching.
okay. Cradled in my arms, so still, so still, not a sound. Do you want to say goodbye? How can you do that when you never got to say hello? My child is sleeping, but they were never awake. Others still cannot understand this loss, this black hole that will never be filled. You will have another. They will be fine and healthy. And then all will be better. You'll see. Just a second. Um, can't turn my
Want me to finish?
thing. Yeah, no, it's okay. I just had to turn my camera around.
Oh, okay.
They only saw you sleeping. They knew you would not wake. To them, you never existed. For no breath did you ever take. Sleep, my darling. I know you fought a good fight. I felt your struggles, every little kick. I stroked you from without as you grew from within, until one day you stopped. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Okay with me.
Like I said, even though I know what it is and everything, and I did it, it
Mm.
still makes you cry.
My avatar is patting your back.
The last little bit, they tried to explain, they tried to prepare, until finally you were here, in my arms, sleeping.
Oh man, who came up with Rainbow Baby? Because that does not sound like a rainbow, you know? That sounds pretty.
Well, no, it's about they believe that um, they're being carried over the rainbow into heaven.
Oh, I see.
That's that's the reason for that term,
I see. That
which of
makes a
course
little more sense.
is a wonderful vision for
Mm.
when you've gone through something like that. It eases the pain.
Yes, okay. I understand now. Wow, that was intense. But that's what this is supposed to be. When you
When I
come
have
visit
feedback
Huntress's
on
art, be prepared, prepare yourselves, and then also get really into it because it can be very therapeutic, at least for me as I'm experiencing it right now. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I the most common feedback I have with my work is usually one word: powerful.
Mm-hmm,
That's the
mm-hmm.
most common thing people will say to me is powerful.
Versus disempowered. So, what does that mean to you? Where do they get that from?
The powerful part.
Yeah, how do you interpret that?
Um, I know that it's because they're feeling what that
Mm-hmm.
thing is, but usually there'll be one scene, one particular one that will really hit them, and that'll
Mm-hmm.
be because they've got somebody in their life that has that,
Is
or
touching.
themselves even.
So it's empowering their emotion to come forth and to experience that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Not that they always necessarily want to. I have had actually one person who said, I really loved it, but I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she loved that it made her, it was there, and it was the thing she understood, and it was a very powerful emotion. But she also hated it because it took her down that journey of feeling that sometimes pain that you can feel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But this is part of life. So on occasion, when we're ready and willing, it's something that we could experience, especially if there's, um, if you were in a place that you were ready to let yourself go there, I suppose. So, yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I think it's a case of people don't know what to expect when they first start looking, and then it's like, oh, wow, wasn't necessarily ready for that.
Yeah. So this one is about movement and physical ability.
It's to do with more sort of paralysis. You want to be able to move, but your body just cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ways to show it is to just show that the the figure is bound up. They can't move.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not actually the physical restraint on them that is the problem. It is that their actual body does not move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now that's powerful because even mental health has a lot to do with our ability to, um, to move ourselves forward in our lives. And some days are good, some days are not. For feeling like you have the capacity to do the things that we are asked to do and want to do, and you know that's all part of. And I really do believe everybody has something. It to some degree. We all are experiencing these labels, so to speak, to some degree, or sometimes in our lives. As we develop, don't you think that there's that we may not be diagnosed, but there's certainly touches of it that we can relate to.
Yeah. Or even as I said, that it's the people in your lives. It's not necessarily you, but it's the people you know. This one is actually sort of when you don't have the strength to go out. You're too scared to go out into the world. Or the other side of it, which is the not so necessarily pleasant side, is that there may be somebody in your life that is um, making your world unsafe. Sort of uh, child, adults not acting appropriately, etc. So, you hope that the monster will go away, but usually there's only a couple of ways that will happen. This one is more to do with dysphoria, not seeing yourself, not loving yourself, not wanting to look at yourself, not feeling that you are right in your body.
Mm-hmm. There's a condition. A few um, mental health diagnoses that have this condition as part of.
Yeah, dysphoria is one of them. But there are certainly others, and I mean, who among us don't look in the mirror and go, "Oh, geez, wish my nose was a bit shorter," or my eyes weren't so close together, or
Oh.
we all have some issues, body issues usually.
Mm-hmm. And as we get older, it does seem to be a challenge. But we're not. Today is the youngest I'm going to look for the rest of my life. I keep telling myself.
Yeah, then the next day is the same thing. This one's another sort of paralysis one. It's more for the people who can't move at all. They're sort of like the living coma type thing.
Mm.
So it's just they have to basically go through. Somebody does everything for them, which for those people, it's embarrassing, and it's you lose your human side because you're not doing anything yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, this last one, which is normally, it's actually the first piece I ever did because it was the one that meant the most to me.
Okay, and this meant the most to you for what reasons? Tell us.
This one in here, because I'm a sufferer myself. I am actually, this one's for depression, but bipolar, which I am, has a lot of a depression component in it. And it was just something that I tried to explain to people, because to a lot of people it's just like, you just need to think happy thoughts, or
snap out of it.
You just need positive outlook. There's always a silver lining in the grey clouds and that kind of thing. And it's like,
well, at least you have this, and at least you have that in your life.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Oh, you've got a partner, and you've got, you've got enough money to do what you want, or.
But at the same time, your body is still saying, and in the chemicals that all mix up in our brains, your body is saying there is something that is feeling not right. That part of depression is all of the chemical reactions of something's not quite right, or you need to be aware of something, the fight or flight, all those things that our brain is
Yeah.
set up for.
Yeah.
And
One of the things I love about doing this stuff in SL is that I could not do this in real life. This is one of the few things that you can't do in real life, which is if you move closer to where I am now, you'll see on the ground, you'll see
mm,
the rain. You'll see the rain falling in drips and drabs
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and that kind of thing. I can't do that in real life. That's how do I make that?
I love it. Well, you'd have to make a
Um,
rainstorm or have a really big shower head, or be on a
yeah,
set somewhere.
I'll start seeing the clouds now.
And you can even see a
But
reflection of the clouds. If I look up, you've got, oh yeah, okay. So it's the sky.
yeah, I haven't put a top on it. You'd have so much trouble seeing walking around at the moment if I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this one's got the weeping willow to emphasise things in the rain. Um,
Hmm.
just everything is coming down on the person who is obviously not, you know, definitely not a happy pose. They're kind of curled up and just deep within themselves.
And it says on the
And
back, and a little sign, do they not realize that if I could think as an optimist, I would? Hmm.
which is yes. So a lot of people don't talk about their depression when they suffer it because they get that kind of feedback. Oh, well, you could do this or you could do that, and it's like, no, look, it's a medical issue. I can't just do that. I do actually take medication, and when I first took medication, I held off a very long time taking medication because I knew once I did, it would be for life. I always knew that.
Hmm.
And so I didn't take it until I had my son because I figured, well, I've got to be here in this world
Yeah,
for him
available.
because I
Right.
brought him into the world.
Mm-hmm.
So um, the first tablet I took, the doctor made me take it in his office to make sure I was okay. And I did that, and I walked outside, and it was a very dark, cloudy day. And I looked up, and I thought, well, this will be good for the garden. And then my next thought was, oh my God, that's what it's like to be optimistic. Because I
Hmm.
had never felt that before. And I had never felt truly happy before until then. And then it was like, oh, right, this is why people do whatever, or this is what they feel. I had never
Mm-hmm.
felt that. And
Mm-hmm.
by that stage, I was in my mid-20s.
Hmm. So medication worked for you.
Yes, I know it doesn't for everybody. Some people, it helps to talk in groups and that kind of thing. That
Yeah,
doesn't work for
cognitive
me.
behavioral therapy and whatnot.
Yeah, that doesn't particularly work for me. Some people don't do anything. They just manage to, pull through it. And
Mm-hmm.
I certainly don't advocate that anybody do one particular thing to help whatever they're going through. But
I
yeah,
think
for
some of
me, that's
medications
worked.
are for stabilizing, and then once stable, with doctors' supervision, some of them are meant to be very hard to come down from, come off of, and some of them are for stabilizing, like short term. When
Yes,
you're anxious, take a
yes.
chill pill, so
For
to speak.
me, I have both. I have a stabilizer and I have
Chill pill,
basically lift the mood.
yeah. Yeah. So and then there's
My
people who
doctor
self
actually,
medicate too.
yeah, my doctor actually looked at. I did actually do a little book for this. I'm revamping it because um, there's a lot more to go in it now.
Mm.
But my doctor actually looked at a couple of the pictures I did. I took them to him. Well, I actually gave him a copy of my book, and he asked me, could I print out a couple of the pages? The depression was one of them, and could he take them to his next conference?
Mm. And so he
And it
would
was like,
share them with the conference, and this would be of professionals.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
he was one of the speakers, and he was taking it to the conference to show. That's one of the areas I've had a lot of good feedback is from medical people, nurses, doctors, whatever, because it shows. It doesn't just show it to them because, of course, most of them know what this is about, but it helps them to show to others, to explain to others, this is what your child or your parent or your friend is going through,
Hmm.
so that because they can explain it in whatever normal words you want to use, but it does actually help having more of a visual understanding.
Let me click on this clicker for the volume on this one. I want to see if I can hear it. Oh wait, I think I have to turn up my sound in my viewer, so it's not gonna. Yeah, it's playing, but I can't hear as I turned off the sound, lowered the sound for our conversation. But you can come in and view this beautiful installation. Are we at the entrance? So this is the end, is it?
This is the entrance. I have the um, it's just this side
I want to tell
of
people that they can
Wonder
come
over
and
here.
view this in world.
There's my big man at the beginning that you can see,
Right.
and then I've kind of set it up so that you will naturally want to go to the direction we went, but it is actually possible to just wander all over the place. But if you follow the path, you will at least
Mm-hmm.
see everything.
Yes. And did we go the right direction? I think we did.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
So, right, because you were leading. So, if anyone wants to see this, this is how it's done. You have to get yourself a free avatar and show up at um, BURN2 in Second Life at our event going on until the 16th. And it might be up for a little bit longer and then soon taken up because our event will finish. So you can get a free avatar and viewer, which is what we're using. So we can record this. This is a similar viewer that you would get, although this is Firestorm, and that's also free. And then you can see this installation as well as many others at our 12 region event going on until October 16th. Anything more to add, Huntress? How about that little bunny
No,
right there?
that's pretty much it.
Oh, and here's your little giver, your little gift giver. I'll click on that later. Thank you so much for really getting into it with us, and really sharing a way deeper level than than I even thought we were going. Like you said, powerful. You made this installation powerful by sharing your personal insight and
And, and
inspirations.
you even got me to cry.
I did, and I almost did too. I did. It's really, really powerful. And thank you for sharing.
Thank you for hosting me.
You can click on this live later because it'll be posted. I'm going to stop the streaming and thank you, everyone, for listening and watching.